What's up, everybody? MekelKasanova here, back with another video, and today I want to talk about the one, the only Ninja Gaiden 4. I am so happy that this game came out because it's been, since 2012, since Ninja Gaiden 3 and 3 Razor's Edge came out, so it's absolutely crazy that we haven't had a brand new Ninja Gaiden game until 2025, which we've got three. We got Ninja Gaiden 2 Black, which is the ultimate edition. I know some people like to say it's not, but to me, I think it's one of the best versions of Ninja Gaiden 2 out there. It's way more balanced and fair than vanilla Ninja Gaiden 2, but it's also astronomically better than Ninja Gaiden Sigma 2. So there's that. And then we got Ninja Gaiden Ninja Gaiden Ragebound. So that came out too, which is also a phenomenal game. It's a throwback to the classic Ninja Gaiden. Although it doesn't play exactly one-to-one like OG Ninja Gaiden, it is still a great Ninja Gaiden game nonetheless. And now we've got Ninja Gaiden 4, and this is something I've really been looking forward to. And thankfully, I've been able to play it on PC, on Xbox, and on PlayStation. I'm here to tell you that if you've been waiting for Ninja Gaiden to come back, it is here. There are some caveats. We're going to get into that in this review. But before we do all that, I want to give a special thank you to Xbox for providing me with the review copies for this game to be able to play this on Xbox, on PlayStation, and I'm also a PC Game Pass partner, so I was able to play this on PC as well. Thanks to them. So shout out to them. If you want to pick up the game, links will be down in the description down below. But let's go ahead and talk about Ninja Gaiden 4 and why I think this is one of, if not the best action game of 2025. The year of the ninja. Man, Shinobi and Ninja Gaiden back in the same year? Crazy. Let's talk about it. All right, so the first thing I want to talk about is the story. Now, here's the thing. A lot of people I've seen a lot of criticisms about the story of Ninja Gaiden 4, saying that it's not very good. I guess a lot of people are expecting, a Last of Us style plot, a Ghost of Tsushima plot, but this is a character action game. Like, think Devil May Cry, Bayonetta. These are games where the story kind of comes second to the action. So let's just talk about, I'll give you guys a bit of a brief rundown. So in Ninja Gaiden 4, it stars the new character, Yakumo, who is part of the Black Raven clan, which, according to the lore of this game, which technically factors into the lore of the entire Ninja Gaiden series, they work as the shadow of the Hayabusa clan. So with them, they basically do all the stuff that the Hayabusa clan is not going to do. Now, with that clan, they are actually somehow related to the Black Dragon, or the Dark Dragon, rather. If you guys remember in Ninja Gaiden 1, there was a Dark Dragon Blade and then the Dark Dragon, which has been like a very prevalent theme throughout the Ninja Gaiden series, which Ryu has defeated the Dark Dragon at least 3 times by this point, between the modern trilogy and then the NES trilogy, which are all connected. A lot of people don't realize this, but Ninja Gaiden NES trilogy and Ninja Gaiden 1, 2, and 3 of the modern series are all connected, with the modern series being the prequel, and then following Ninja Gaiden 3, you've got the Dead or Alive series and Ninja Gaiden NES trilogy, which is Ninja Gaiden 1, Ninja Gaiden 3, then Ninja Gaiden 2, then the OVA, and then you get this game, which is set many years after Ninja Gaiden OVA, as well as the Dead or Alive series. So there you go. All right. So you're controlling Yakumo for a good portion of this, almost entirely the entire portion of this game. And one of the things you're going to notice off the bat, now we're jumping over to gameplay. I'm not really going to talk more about story because I don't want to spoil anything. I don't like spoiling stuff unless I do a spoiler-centric video, which I'm not going to do this. I want you guys to go out and play this game. Now, when it comes to the gameplay of Ninja Gaiden 4 feels different. Now, if you're expecting, because you may have played Ninja Gaiden 2 Black, or maybe you played Ninja Gaiden Sigma or Sigma 2, or, the vanilla Ninja Gaiden 2, or even Ninja Gaiden 1 or Black, you're probably it's going to take some time to get used to it. So when I started out playing it, it took me a couple hours to fully adjust to how different. The gameplay is similar, but it's different. And where it differs from the original trilogy of games is now you got that lock-on system, which wasn't really prevalent in the series before. Basically, it was free flow combat, which it still is. You can still do free flow combat in this, but now you've got the ability to lock on. This was developed by Platinum Games. So if you guys are familiar with Nier Automata or Astral Chain or the Bayonetta series, and technically even, let's just go ahead and throw Devil May Cry in there because the team that made Bayonetta also previously made Devil May Cry. Hideki Kamiya, even though he's not with Platinum Games anymore, but his team did make that. So it's going to feel like a bit of a amalgamation of Bayonetta, Devil May Cry, Astral Chain, and Ninja Gaiden 2 Black, kind of. So there's a big emphasis on being able to do perfect parries, which has always been kind of a thing in the series. You can do parries or repose. But in this one, perfect parries or perfect dodges, which is something that's very crucial to Bayonetta as well as the Nier Automata game, is very crucial in this one because you're going to need to do a lot of that, especially if you're going to go up against bosses and especially when all the enemies are flanking you. You're going to need to do that. The difference between how this game functions and the others is the other games you could level up your weapons. And in this one, you can unlock more moves and quasi upgrade weapons, but it's not in the same way. The damage output doesn't really change much. And with Yakumo, you get, he's got a dual katana build, or kind of like a Kodachi, which is one sword he holds backwards, one he holds the regular way. And then you also have, you'll get a kind of like a rapier, but it's got like a drill top on it. You'll get that. And then you'll also eventually down the road, you'll get a staff and then another weapon, which I'm not going to reveal to you in this review. I don't want to give everything. So you get that. And where this changes from the traditional Ninja Gaiden format is the fact that on the fly, even in mid-combat, similar to, Devil May Cry or Bayonetta, or even you could say Nier Automata, you can switch weapons on the fly mid-combo, which changes the fundamentals of how Ninja Gaiden plays. Because before you couldn't really change, it would pause the game so you could switch to different weapons. But in this one, you don't really need to do that. You can literally just switch depending on what direction you're pressing. Up will give you your dual katana or dual kodachis, and then right will give you your rapier, and then down will give you your staff, and left will give you the other weapon you get. So each weapon fundamentally operates differently. Standard string your Ninja Gaiden experience, which has always been there, but you also get a different set of movesets, which is your Raven Blood Gauge. I believe that's the term. I'll correct it somewhere if I said it incorrectly. But basically, you hold the left trigger, either L2 or left trigger if you're playing on PC or Xbox. And what you're able to do with this is you have a meter which fills up as you land combos, and also over time you can also consume consumables that allow it to build up. And this blood gauge allows you, because this ties into the Raven Clan's style of fighting, and you're able to do moves that can hit really hard, and they're slower, but they're way more powerful. And you can also charge them. And so if you're attacking an enemy and they constantly block and block and block, which if they're going to attack you immediately, you'll see them start to turn, like they'll have like a white, kind of like an aura about them. And that lets you know that they're eventually going to counterattack you. Now, if you're in the middle of them doing that while you're attacking and you start holding down the left trigger or L2, then you'll be able to break through their guard. And you can still do the stuff that you got with Ninja Gaiden 2 and Ninja Gaiden 3, modern ones, where you can do the dismemberment, which is very, very prevalent in this one. And you also can do Steel on Bone. It doesn't function the way it did in Ninja Gaiden 3. I just got to say that much. It's not very similar to that. But while in this form, you can literally do it. So think of this Raven Blood Gauge similar to like a Devil Trigger or Witch Time in a way. It doesn't slow down time like Witch Time does in Bayonetta, but it's I think the closer comparison could be that it's very similar to Double Trigger. It makes you have that capability, but there is a Double Trigger type of maneuver you can do when you build up enough of this gauge. You can go into a berserk mode. You click in both of the left and right thumbsticks, and it takes you into this berserker mode where you do increased damage, you take less damage, and if you time it right and you press both sticks in, you can do similar to, this is probably where it pulls from Metal Gear Rising Revengeance, but you can do kind of like in that game you did Zantatsu, but you have to aim and such. But in this one, you just kind of press in the thumbsticks, make sure you're aimed at your enemy, and you'll do kind of like a Zantatsu type of attack where you're just like doing massive damage. Now this hurts bosses greatly, or if you have like a bunch of enemies around you, this right here will just knock them out or instantly kill them, or put them in a dismembered state where you can just run up and just press triangle or I and just put the hurt on. So that the gameplay is in that instance difference. I would also say when it comes to the way the level designs are, the levels are long. Each chapter roughly takes you about anywhere from 45 minutes to an hour or a little over an hour to complete. There are about 20 chapters in total, and the flow of it is very different than traditional Ninja Gaiden. So if you played Ninja Gaiden 1, either the 2004 edition or Black from 2005, or if you played Sigma from 2007, then that game was kind of like an open-ended, quasi-open world Metroidvania kind of, which the series does not really return to. 2 was not like that, and 3 definitely wasn't like that. But this one is closer to 3 in the way the levels, they kind of progress one after another. And so when you're going through the levels, what's interesting is like after you go through certain waves and you get, roughly every 5 to 10 minutes, you're going to come upon these stations or where you can go up to this little kiosk thing and you can auto save your game, it'll auto heal you. You can buy items, you can, pick up missions. So there's missions in this that you can complete, which is not something that's been in other Ninja Gaiden games, but you can do missions. Very similar, I would say, kind of like a quest board in a way. I think similar to how, what's the game? Nier Automata does, right? So you can do your quest boards and you can take up quests, and basically when you complete them, you can get items, you can get ninja coin, you can get what you need to be able to buy new move sets. So there's a lot of different. And then also next to these kiosks will be a raven, which allows you to buy new type of abilities from your teacher, Tyrant. So, it's very different in that sense. Like, I could say it can feel a little repetitive. It's like, oh, go down this corridor, platform, go through a wave of enemies, and then boom, there you go. Here's a checkpoint. I just kind of view it when you come upon these areas as checkpoints, right? So that can feel a little repetitive. However, what I do like is how it changes up traversal with the platforming and whatnot, because these levels are long. Like I said, it can take you anywhere from 45 minutes to over an hour to complete each chapter. And similar, you got some of these aspects within, I want to say, Ninja Gaiden 3, where you could you would jump off a building and kind of like glide, right? And glide and do an assassination technique. Now they took that a little bit further, and what you can do is you can glide, you'll find air currents where you can, glide up and around, and you'll just fly through it by tapping either R1 or right bumper, depending on what you're playing on. And you can take these currents. You also got a grapple hook, which you can throw out. And then some levels will have you having to do all of this together. So you'll be gliding, and then the air current will stop, and you got to throw your grapple hook up, and then you'll get on the thing. You can perch, or sometimes you can just temporarily wall hang, and then you got to jump off, and then you got to either grapple again. And sometimes how you can do the wall run, right? So you can grapple into a wall run, and then jump off. It's so much traversal. It's kind of crazy. Then there are also instances where you will be able to get this kind of like a surfboard, and if you're on a water level or a poisonous, if you go into the demon realm or the fiend realm, if you guys remember the fiends from the modern trilogy, right? So you'll be able to get on this like surfboard and you can like surf through it. And there's just so much when it comes to traversal. It's really wild. I like how in combat there can be some arenas that you're going to fight in where you can use the grapple hook to get above enemies, and you can go about, how do you want to craft a move? You can say you want to set someone up with an Azuna drop. You can get them in the air, turn the camera, grapple hook over, jump off of it, and do a falcon dive where you go down and you I can't think of the name off the top of my head, but you can't think of it like a falcon dive where you just go through them while they're in midair. The way that you can customize how you approach each combat section is where I think this has the most satisfying gameplay, in my opinion, within the series. If it's not neck and neck with Ninja Gaiden 2 or Ninja Gaiden 2 Black, I would say it's probably a peg lower just because I like the rawness of Ninja Gaiden 2's combat. Now, that aside, it just feels so good when you finally get down the flow of how combat works. Now, what I don't like is the fact that you don't have a button or anything mapped. Really, I don't even think it even exists in this game where you can just auto swivel the camera behind you outside of facing a direction and then holding down the right stick, which can feel awkward. Even the move where you slide, you have to click in the left stick. That feels awkward. I kind of wish that was placed on a different button because I'm not a fan of how that feels. Ninja Gaiden 1, 2, and 3, you could, and we don't talk about Yaiba. I mean, Yaiba's not a horrible game. It's just not what I wanted. Nonetheless, though, those games, you could tap a button and just reorient the camera. You can't really do that with this one. And sometimes the camera can be to your detriment during certain fights, especially when you have certain context abilities. So like some attacks, you have to rotate the left stick and press triangle, rotate or press square, or down then up in triangle or square. And that also is based on where Yakumo is facing. So yeah, it can be, it's not anywhere near as bad as Ninja Gaiden 1 or even 3. And I know they fixed a lot of that in Ninja Gaiden 2 Black, but it's still there, right? So just keep that in mind. Now, I talked about a lot of different things. You also have these Torii gates you can go up to where you can go and fight in the fiend realm, and basically it's just kind of like gauntlets that you can run where you can have certain disadvantage. You can either go through it with full health and whatnot, and you can get a low amount of money and experience points, or you can up it down to where you've got less than 70, like literally negative 75% health, where you've only got 25% health, and you got to try and make it through wave after wave after wave of enemies. So think of it like the trials from Ninja Gaiden 2 in a way. Also kind of Ninja Gaiden 1 and 3. So those are there in every level if you want to do it. There are these little collectible items or creatures too, which you'll run into, called gourds. And they call them cute. They're described as cute in the game, but they look really ugly to me. And they're part of a mission. And also think of collecting them as similar to collecting the golden scarabs in Ninja Gaiden 1 or the crystal skulls in Ninja Gaiden 2. So it's very similar to that, except some of them you can walk up to them. You got to sneak up on them and grab them. Others, you will have to grab them, but then they're going to prompt a QT. And it's kind of crazy. A lot of people, I don't think this modern era of gamers are used to QTEs. Like that was kind of the thing in the PS3 era, 360 era, at which a lot of people grew fatigued with. But yeah, you're going to have to do 2 sets of QTEs to be able to get them. All right, so I got to talk about the elephant in the room, which is the fact that you do not get a lot of time with playing as Ryu, the titular character of this series. Now, this is very much a passing of the torch style of title. I know Yaiba was kind of that as well, and it kind of works. Like, I like Yakumo. I do like him as a character. I like his gameplay, but I would have wanted more Ryu. Maybe there's going to be DLC down the road that gives you more Ryu. Like, I guess the best comparison that I've seen some people qualify this as is Ninja Gaiden 4 is kind of equivalent to Devil May Cry 4, where they switched out Dante with Nero, and you play through half the game as Nero, and the other half in reverse as Dante. Whereas in this, 9% of the time you're playing as Yakumo, and then you get that little 1% where you play as Ryu, and you don't really get the multitude of weapons he's had over the whole series, which I guess from a plot perspective, given that Ryu is such a badass, it makes sense that you don't get to really have the option to play as him a lot, because like really, what is a threat to Ryu at this point? He's defeated the Dark Dragon 3 times. He's defeated Lord Vigor. He's defeated Dagradai. He's defeated, the goddess. He's defeated, the demon. Who else? The Jakio, the Devil Jewer. He's defeated Ashtar. He's defeated Clancy and the Bionoids. This is callbacks if you guys know the NES trilogy. He's defeated the Vampire Lord. This dude has like literally even his own uncle. He's taken out so many different folks. And the Spider Ninja leader, Genshin, he's defeated so many people. I don't know, like, where do you go unless you're gonna make a bigger threat, So I get it. From a lore perspective, you gotta bring in new blood. And the way it kind of goes with how this game plays out is it expects this to be your first Ninja Gaiden, which is why they gave you Yakumo and why they give you drip feed backstory on Ryu, because they refer to him as a legendary ninja, which he is. Or in some instances, he's called the super ninja, right? But he's so OP that literally, if you put it in perspective, he could have just taken out the big bad of his game on his own. But it's a torch passing. Thankfully, as compared to Devil May Cry 4, where Dante went through all of Nero's stages, in reverse, but then that game was incomplete. This one, he gets his own levels. And when you play as Ryu, man, this dude is so OP. He is so OP, it's like, yeah, it makes sense. It makes sense. What's really a threat to him? Especially when he's working with the DDO, Dark Dragon Order. Yeah. So other thing I want to touch on the audio. So the voice acting, I think, is some of the best voice acting we've had in the series. I am sad that my friend Troy Baker didn't get to return as Ryu, and I want to show you guys something. I do have my copy of Ninja Gaiden 3, which was signed by the legend himself, Troy Baker, which is absolutely cool. I would have liked to have him come back as Ryu, but it's funny. Changes voice actors every single game that he's in. He does not have the same voice actor ever. So it's kind of sad that Troy Baker's not back, but I get it. The new guy sounds like an older, gruffer, grizzled Ryu who's seen a lot, So I do like the new voice actor. I just wish Troy Baker could have reprised, because I thought he did a great job as Ryu in Ninja Gaiden 3. However, he didn't come back, but it's fine, right? I like how all the characters from Sayori to Yakumo to Tyron to, his whole team, the whole Raven clan, right? Everyone works, right? It works, right? And a lot of people don't understand that Hayabusa also means Peregrine Falcon. So literally the Peregrine Falcon team, the Dragon Ninjas, which is funny, Dragon Ninja, Peregrine Falcon. And then you got the Ravens, right? Raven and Falcon. It's interesting. Wonder if we get Ninja Gaiden 5, we're going to have a Eagle clan. I don't know. But nonetheless, I do like the voice acting. I think everyone does a fantastic job. This isn't going to be God of War 2018, Last of Us, or Ghost of Tsushima style story. This is a character action game, right? We're just hitting plot beats and going from there. So it's fine. I want to talk about some of the criticisms that this game is getting. You have a lot of people saying the game is too hard, it's unfair. The only thing I can say to you is get good. This game, the revival of the series in 2004 by my late friend Tomonobu Itagaki, who passed recently before this game, Ninja Gaiden 4, came out, which I am dedicating this review to. His whole thing when he did playtesting for the original Ninja Gaiden on Xbox, as well as Black, as well as Ninja Gaiden 2, was when people said it was hard, he made it harder because he believed in you. And he knew that with the way the game was created, you had every tool to win. You just had to put in the effort. The game is difficult. It's not as hard as the previous games, and it's not anywhere near as cheap as Ninja Gaiden 3 was, but it is difficult. And there are three different difficulties. If the game gets too hard, just drop it down to easy. Now, if Itagaki-sama's still alive and running the series, he'd probably mock you like he did in Ninja Gaiden 1, making you a ninja dog, give me a pink ribbon, and you get mocked for it. But this game will be like, hey, if it's too hard, just drop the difficulty. And basically, the game kind of plays itself. So just keep that in mind. But yeah, there's a lot of criticisms aimed at this game, saying it's too difficult, it's too this, it's too that. People don't like this, they don't like that. Or they're expecting this cinematic thing. And then there's the whole thing about the player count being low on Steam. And I see a lot of the discourse. I don't involve myself in the discourse, but I'll just say this. When you've had so many third-person, over-the-shoulder walking simulator games or games which have copied the Souls formula, or games that are character action games that copy what God of War 2018 has done, then you've literally got a whole generation of gamers who don't understand how these types of games work. A lot of people struggle with Devil May Cry 5. A lot of people struggled with Bayonetta. A lot of people struggled with, Ninja Gaiden 2 Black. They struggle with this game because they're not used to it. I'm an older gamer. I'm almost 40. So I grew up in a time when you played these games and you got good because that's literally all the games you had. But we had a variety of games versus the current era, which not saying we don't have a variety of games. We do. It's just people kind of settle into what they like. They just play one type of job. You have a lot of people who only play the trending games. You have a lot of people who only play whatever, and they don't experiment as much these days. So a lot of the complaining you'll hear is from people who typically aren't used to this style of game. But if you're someone who likes Ninja Gaiden, I think this will be perfectly fine for you. So now that I've covered everything, I want to talk about the performance, and then we'll wrap everything up. Actually, let's touch on graphics, then performance. Graphically, this game looks great. It looks like it's built in Unreal Engine 5, which I don't know off the top of my head if it is, because I'm doing this overview off the dome. But nonetheless, the game, in my opinion, I honestly think it looks great. It looks like a modern generation game. Granted, it looks like it could be pulled off the previous generation, but it's a modern generation title. It looks good regardless of whether you're playing it on Xbox Series S, Series X. It looks good regardless of whether you're playing this on PlayStation 5 or 5 Pro. It looks great, especially on PC and also on handheld gaming PCs as well. Now, like I said, I got to play this on PlayStation 5, PlayStation 5 Pro. I got to play it on PC. I got to play it on my laptop, my gaming desktop, my gaming laptop, my ROG Xbox Ally X. Shout out to Xbox for sending that over to me, and Asus. And I also played this on the Xbox Series S and X. Now, the way this game looks on the Series S is very comparable to what I would say it looks like on the ROG Xbox Ally X. It's not the highest graphical fidelity, but it still looks good. It still has that smooth frame rate. Like, at no point did I ever experience performance dips, whether I'm playing it on my ROG Xbox Ally X or playing it on the Series S. It ran silky smooth the whole time. That's just how well optimized this game is. Typically Unreal Engine 5 games have graphical and technical issues, but I didn't run into any with this game. Running it on the Series X, everything looked great. In 20 HDR, everything was looking great. Playing on PlayStation 5, putting it in either quality mode or performance, the game looked great either way, ran smooth. PlayStation 5 Pro, they actually have a specific mode for the PlayStation 5 Pro where you get the highest graphics, you get HDR, plus a high refresh rate. Not the 120 hertz, but you get a solid 60, which can fluctuate a little higher at times. But playing it on PC, I've got a laptop with a 5080. I've got a gaming desktop with a 5090. And I'm saying I ran that cranked all the way flawless. It looked flawless and ran silky smooth. I ran at 120, 4K HDR. Everything was just crispy. Every detail was there, down to rain droplets and more. It looked good. Yeah, performance or graphics and performance. Technically, I'm just combining them into one. It's fantastic. No matter what you play it on, you're getting a Ninja Gaiden experience. Now, final verdict: should you play it? If you're at this point in the review and you're wondering, yeah, you should play it. This type of game, this style, I want more of it. This is the year of the ninja. You know, I never thought we get Shinobi and Ninja Gaiden back in the same year, and not only get them both back, but get them both in a 2D pixel style. That's crazy. You know, kid me who grew up with both was losing his mind. But it's safe to say the Ninja Gaiden series is back. I'm glad it's back. I'm looking forward to seeing where it goes if we do get a Ninja Gaiden 5. But nonetheless, this game is absolutely fantastic, top to bottom. If there's anything I would change, I would like to play more as Ryu. I would like to have his full loadout of weapons and even newer weapons from, you know, older weapons from previous games and newer weapons that could be unique here, especially with the ability to switch weapons on the fly. But I think Platinum Games knocked it out of the park. So yeah, it looks great, plays great. I think the story is good, especially following up after the NES trilogy and Dead or Alive series. And hey, who knows? This might be a sign that we might get Dead or Alive 7. Fingers crossed. But with all that being said, guys, that's my review of Ninja Gaiden 4. What do you guys think of it? Have you picked it up? Have you played it? Are you enjoying it? Is there anything you like or dislike about it? Let's get the conversation going in the comment section down below. If you want to pick up the game, it will be pinned to the YouTube video as well, if you're watching this on YouTube, as well as the links in the description, affiliate links for you to pick it up, whether it's whatever place you like to get it. Amazon, GameStop, Best Buy, doesn't matter. All that being said, though, thank you to Xbox for providing me with a review copy of this game to be able to play it on different platforms. Really appreciate that, and I'm having an absolute blast playing through it. I think I've beaten this 3 times, and I'm on my 4th playthrough. It's just, I'm such a fan of this series. I grew up with it. I grew up with the NES trilogy, and you know, yeah, I never thought it would come back, and then they brought it back with Ninja Gaiden on the original Xbox in 2004, again produced by my friend, the late great Tomonobu Itagaki. And it redefined, and I think a lot of people miss this, and a lot of modern gamers dismiss this when they shouldn't. But action games were redefined with Ninja Gaiden. The original Xbox release completely changed the way action or character action games played. There was nothing like it. It was so good that it's still considered, especially Ninja Gaiden 2, Ninja Gaiden Black rather, the cream of the crop, and Ninja Gaiden 2 Vanilla and 2 Black, cream of the crop. It's just, they redefined the genre, and people need to put respect on it. For real. All that being said, that's the review. Hope to see you guys in the next one.